Hey, I figured I go live a little bit early. Go ahead and get this thing started because this is actually some work. So while we get started, we're going to go ahead and mess with some stuff on here. Let a few people stroll in because I'm going to go ahead and get started at like the 5 minute mark, 5-10 minute mark. So we're just getting a few finishing touches all set up. What's up, Sunday Backyard Farmer? How you doing? How you doing? Just doing a little kind of not really a pop-up live, but kind of spur of the moment. I was like, I gotta do this anyway. I was like, I might as well just do it on camera, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and slip these gloves on as a preemptive measure. How y'all doing tonight? I gotta get it pulled up on the browser here and everything so I can see everything that's going on. Okay. But yeah, how's everybody doing this evening? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Okay, there we go. All right, I got it pulled up on the little browser thing here, but I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up so anybody who comes in is welcome to speak, but I'm gonna just kind of get started. What's up, y'all? Hey, tonight you can probably get outdoors. Sunday Backyard Farmer sitting on the back deck, getting ready to do some editing. It's starting to warm up a little bit. We're anti-social. Starting to warm up a little bit. It's good to see you, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I don't want to be at this all night, and I kind of don't know how this is gonna go. So we're gonna do this together. I got everything I need. I usually be doing this outside, but it won't be that bad. I say that bad. I'm gonna try to pull the camera a little closer. Kind of get the camera as close as we can get it. But what I'm gonna do is take this. Believe it or not, it is like extremely heavy. Take this right here. I'm gonna take the contents of this and put it inside these two buckets right here. But before I do that, I'm basically gonna sift out any of the worms that I want to sift out and put them off to the side inside this pot right here with some castings, because what I want to do is just get them some more food because they've pretty much eaten up everything that's in here. When I first started this thing off right here, it was filled all the way up to the top, like, and it was solid. Like, it wasn't like compressed or nothing, but it was solid. Now you can see it's kind of it's well on its way down to the middle of the pot. So we got some leaves over here in this bag. You probably can't see it on the camera. We got some green material, and we got some soil over here in this pot over here. So we're gonna mix it all up and kind of make do what we got. But we're gonna put the stuff back in this pot after we harvest everything. So we're just kind of doing a little rotation here. I would make it a little bit more efficient if I had some kind of worm bin harvester or whatever, but I'm just trying to get some castings. I'm gonna build on it though. But we'll hit up the chat real quick before we get started. What's up, Broke Farmer 76? What's up, Andale Homestead in the Colony? It's good to see you. Oh yeah, we're just gonna get this done. Anybody who comes in is more than welcome to speak. I'll get to the chat occasionally, but I'm gonna try to get this worm casting thing here done because I got more stuff to do on this Saturday night / evening. So what I'm gonna do is kind of take it out a little bit by little bit. I'm gonna get my bucket set up, and so here's what I can do. I got this little thing right here. I mean, it's like a plant. It's like a plant holder. I can kind of I'm gonna put a handful at a time on there and kind of put them in the buckets, but I'll sift through and get the worms too. Oh man, it's a lot of worms in here, but give you a close up. You can see the worms. They're in here, but you can see how rich the castings are too. It's like that in the whole container. So I'm going to basically be taking the worms and putting them in a separate container. I'll probably actually just leave the worms on here and just sift the castings out and put the castings inside the bucket from here, actually, because realistically, it's easier to contain the worms where I have them right here, so it'd be a little bit easier. So we'll do just that. And we'll this is going to be a long process, huh? Maybe, maybe not. But like I said, I'm just going to be harvesting some castings. I could just put most of the castings back in there too, but I just want to get this process started. And I'll pick through and get some of the worms, but some of the worms inevitably are not going to make it. But there's plenty of worms. There's plenty of worm eggs. There's all kinds of good stuff in here. So I started this container probably about 7-8 months ago. There's eggshells, all kinds of stuff in here. But I don't know if y'all can see the worms moving around in the container. Let me see if I can. Let me get my phone and hop on the live real quick for my phone. There we go. All right. So I got it set up on my phone so I can see the chat. What's up? What's up, Growing with Hudson? How you doing? What's up, Carolina Roots? But yeah, we're just getting these worms, getting these worm castings all done and set up, making sure that we don't get too many worms out of the whole situation, but it's going to take a little bit because I really don't want to. The worm castings are going to go outside, so it's no real big deal. I think that what we'll end up doing is taking part of the container, actually. So now that I think about it, I'm not going to take the whole container and just destroy it because this is a whole ecosystem right here. So what I'll do is use this as an opportunity to just kind of refresh the worm container, harvest some castings, keep the rest of the castings in here because the microbiology from the castings that are in here what's gonna actually help the castings that are remade in the future. So I don't want to take everything from the environment, just take some of it. But yeah, what's up, Bomber Steve? How you doing this evening? But yeah, we're just, so what I'm doing is I'm picking through and getting the worms and putting them back inside the container, and I'm getting I'm getting the castings, and I'm harvesting them because I'm going to put the castings in my garden. I'm going to put the castings in my potted plants, all kinds of stuff like that. So I want to make sure that the worms that are making the castings are not taken out by too much, because some of the worms are going to inevitably end up inside of the garden outside and stuff like that. But realistically, my composting worms, I don't really need them to be in the garden outside. So that's why I'm picking through and putting some of the worms back. But I'm only doing that with the big worms, because the small worms, I don't have time to be picking through and just getting all the small worms and everything. But, oh, I threw one in there. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. So what's up, Aussie and what's up my Aussie gardening kitchen? How you doing? Best Yet Journey, how you doing? Thank you for what you sent earlier. I appreciate that, Best Yet. I want to show y'all something real quick. So this is what like some really, really, really rich castings looks like. There's a bunch of eggshells in here, so I want to get a good core sample and show y'all. Just really, oh, it smells so good up close what it looks like. And I'm gonna shake my gloves a little bit so I don't get it on the carpet. Check it out. So that's what we're dealing with. And I'm trying to take that, because the worms, they use up their poop and everything as far as passing through the soil. And they'll pass through and they'll eat the same castings multiple times over, but you don't want to let them sit in their own castings for too long. So what I'm doing right now is just harvesting some castings. I'm going to put some new material in there for them to eat. They're going to be happy with that. But check this out. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you messing with me? Okay, so what are y'all talking about in the chat? Oh, you're welcome, Best Yet. Best Yet says, ew. Yeah, I'm just getting all the worms that I pulled from the castings that I can see. There's worm eggs in here too. So I'll show y'all what a worm cocoon looks like. So this right here is a worm cocoon. Let me see if I can get it in camera. That little brown thing right there, that's called a worm cocoon. I can't get the camera to focus or anything like that, but that's where the worms come from. They lay those eggs. Then you get baby worms from those. So, of course, I'm going to put that back into the container here. I'm going to keep picking through and getting the bigger worms that I find. There is like literally thousands of worms in here, though, y'all. Like, I'm not hurt at all by putting any of them in the garden, because I'm not going to be killing any of the worms today. I'm just going to be putting them in the garden. So they're going to be doing some really cool stuff for the garden outside. and I'm excited for that. So we're going to really make sure that we can get most of the worms out of this little mixture here. So I have African night crawlers. I have African night crawlers. Canadian Proud. See, these worms, they don't even try to escape the worm farm at all. They don't try to get out at all because I create such a good environment for them. You just got to make a nice little home for them. They won't try to leave the home if you make it nice for them. But realistically, what the problem is with most people's worm farms and why the worms try to escape the bins is because you're putting too much carbon material in there. You got, too much nitrogen material in there. You got to put a nice amount of leaves and stuff in your worm material. So if you have a lot of leaves in there, they're not trying to go nowhere. I got some nice moist soil from some old plants and everything that I just kept moist. And the worms are going to love that stuff. So I'm going to mix that with the leaves, and then it's going to wet up the leaves. I'm going to wet up the mixture a little bit more, add some water to it and everything. And they're going to love that. So I'm looking forward to getting them in their space and everything. Once I actually add this new material to the worm farm, what I might do is split the worm farm. I might just go in there and just grab half of the material and just throw it in a new container and then just add some more to it. But right now I'm just harvesting some castings. So this is an easy enough process to just kind of take some of the castings from the whole thing. And so the best part about taking worm castings is you're not stealing nutrients from the environment, really, because the worms don't really want the castings. The whole objective of it is for the worms to for you to clean their poop up and you to get nutrients from that in the same process. So it just so happens that their poop is really clean. So there we go. Let me see. So yeah, I have made tea with the castings before, but a lot of times I use my homemade nutrients that I have outside, and then I'll let the worm castings kind of do their work just kind of naturally. But I've done teas before, and I'll do teas again. Let me see, my thing's loading and stuff like that. But what's up, Bushcraft? How you doing? Yeah, I'm just picking through and getting some of the worms out of here because I can save some of them. But I'm putting some of the smaller ones intentionally into the castings inside the bucket and everything. But there's cocoons. There's worm cocoons in here and everything. So yeah. But yeah, as far as bubbling it for 24 hours, 24 to 36 hours, like that was the way to go. But I haven't done it this season, but I probably will do it this season to try to inoculate the garden some more. I think that's a great idea. So thanks for the heads up on that. Oh. What is the pH of the worm farm? Does it fluctuate? So the pH of the worm farm, I'm going to be real with you. I haven't actually taken the exact pH of the worm farm, but I'd imagine that since the worms aren't trying to really escape or anything like that, it's not too acidic. I would imagine it's on the neutral side, kind of closer to the neutral side, because the worms kind of secrete calcium, and I'm not going to act like I really even know the pH, to be honest with you, though, but I haven't taken the pH, but I haven't had a problem with the worms escaping, so I haven't really delved into that part of it too much. But what I'm doing now is just harvesting some worm castings for the garden. But this is mostly what I use for the worm farm. leaves. It's the easiest way to really not have to worry about your pH fluctuating too much and everything. I'll use literally 50% leaves and then just kind of add material from there. I'll use old used soil that might not have any nutrient content in it whatsoever. So I give the worms a good strong base. But I haven't really... See, the reason why I haven't taken the pH of the worm farm is because with those soil pH probes, I don't necessarily trust those. But at the same time, if I wanted to like make a slurry and then take the pH of that, that's another thing too. But I feel like with organics, the pH fluctuates so much in the medium that worrying about the pH of a living organic situation is putting yourself in a weird spot. Because I'm going to be honest with you, like the fertilizer that the homemade fertilizer that I use for the garden outside, literally the pH sometimes is 10.5 and then everything is like green and happy afterwards. So it's I don't know, but I think the biggest thing that I deal with outside is bug pressure, if I had to be honest with you. Because that's something that we all struggle with. Let me see. What's up, New Art Gardener? How you doing? What's up, the Garden Zebra? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. But yeah, I just kind of throw the worms back in there as I see them. But there's so many baby worms. There's so many baby worms. And what I find too is if I put a bunch of eggshells in the mixture, it kind of helps neutralize the pH really well. And it keeps the worm breeding. It keeps the worms breeding a lot. Like I'm finding so many cocoons in here that I'm just kind of taking, and I'll throw them back in there. But I'll put a lot of the cocoons into the garden outside because I feel like the worms are just kind of stick around the garden bed. They may go elsewhere, but I have a whole bunch of wood chips around my garden, so really my garden area is like a sanctuary for worms if they choose to just kind of leave the garden bed. So I'm not really worried too much about it. But yeah, we're going to do this for a while. Let me see. I'm only wanting to really do this for about an hour and a half maybe tonight because I started really late. But I want to pot up those some of those Vitex I have too. I have some 1 gallon pots, and then I have this really big pot right here that I'm going to use to pot up the other Vitex and everything. What's up, Recyclable Homestead? It's good to see you. So, and yeah, I'm just trying to get enough castings to top dress the plants outside in the garden. And I'm going to get plenty enough to do that. So I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty soon, we have a really big harvest coming up. We're going to be harvesting pretty much all that kohlrabi. We're going to be harvesting a lot of those collard greens. We'll let some of the collard greens stick around, but I really want to get to eating those greens because they look delicious. See, for me too, I don't harvest baby leaves on plants because I don't have a really big growing area. So I want the plants to get really big and strong before I start taking off of them. The kale, I'm just going to make a kale chip bonanza off those. I'm just being honest. I know they're going to start going to bolt after a while, so I want to really take advantage of those while I can. But yeah, we're just going through the worm farm. And basically, inside the worm farm here, there's spots that are super, super dense. It'll be spots that are like real, real thick. And what I'll do is I'll take from those spots and I'll put them inside this tray right here. And I'll sift through it. And I'll get the worms back into the bin here. And then I'll put some of the castings in the bucket. And what I'm going to do is add some of the leaves that I got in the bag over here. I'm going to add the soil I got in the pot over there. And we're just going to make it work. So we're going to grab a big old chunk of castings right here. And it's real heavy. That's how I know it's a real good chunk of castings. So check it out. We're going to put it up close to the camera. You see how it's like so solid in structure? It holds together so well. And when I put it on the thing, when I put it on the tray here, it comes out in clods because there's just so much organic material and so many amino acids. Just the chains are just linked together and keeping that soil held together. But as you can see here, we got worms. We got a bunch of them, and they're really healthy looking, but they're young. Look how healthy. I'm gonna put that back. Before we start putting stuff back, we're gonna go ahead and grab some more handfuls here. Grab one more handful. I want to go to the very bottom too, because on the bottom, I got leaves at the bottom. Okay, I see what's going on at the bottom. They're using the bottom as a home base. So what I'll do is I'll take from the middle here, and I'll do just like that. Let me look in the chat here. What's up, Tiffany Cherie? How you doing, baby? Okay, so anti-social. Okay, so do you cover the farm or leave it open? So with this farm, I leave it open, but what I do with it is I basically take like a light mulch layer, and I keep the light mulch layer over the top of it most of the time. And then when I add something to it, I'll slide that mulch layer back, and I'll add that food to it, and then the worms will just congregate to that spot, and they'll just eat off that spot. So it works out pretty good like that. But we're just grabbing the worms out of the castings that we take out of the container. But I added cocoons to the mixture. I basically added a bunch of worm cocoons, and then I added probably about 200 worms. Not many. And I'm not going to lie to you, there's probably over 6,000, 7,000 worms in here, if not more. And every handful of worm castings that I take out, there's at least 12 worms in that handful. And you know, this container right here is a huge container. So check it out. There's just worms in here. If I want to go fishing, if I want to take some bait for fishing, I got plenty of worms in here. I'm not ashamed of taking any of them if I need to. I mean, they're my composting worms, but they are I'm sure they'd have some extra good effects on the fishing hole too, because I give these worms nothing but the best. They get the best of the best. What's up, the sweet spot? How you doing? Veggie farm. Okay, so Veggie farm, you say, is there a benefit to doing it all in one pot rather than doing it in stacked containers? So the benefit I find in doing it one smart pot with so I basically have one of these trays under the pot at all times to kind of catch any liquid that might come out of the worm bin. But basically, I think the advantage is all your worms are in one spot. You can harvest a few castings at a time. It's not really super advantageous, really. I think that the towers are really good because you end up being able to harvest the castings a lot easier. But with this method, I end up with a lot more castings, and the castings end up a lot more rich because the castings end up like it's like double bypass, like triple bypassed, and I add more food to it, and then the castings just get darker and darker, and I can see what's going on a lot easier. I'm sure there are some benefits to it, but realistically, it comes down to preference too, because if something's easy for you and it works for you, you know, I think that's the right way to go. You know, but if it's hard for you, you should change it up. And that's kind of how I go by that's kind of how I do things over here right now. And of course, I follow advice of people who I watch on YouTube and people who taught me in my life and everything. I just kind of absorb it like a sponge. There's a whole bunch of baby worms in here. I'm probably undershooting when I say 6,000, 7,000 too, by far, because I'm not picking half these worms. They're so small. Some of the worms are so small that they just come out of the eggs. I'm just like, I'll just let these be outside. and they're just going to help inoculate my wood chips. They're going to help just break down my whole overall environment. I'm just going to add more wood chips to the ground out there. They're going to have more of a home. And don't get me wrong, when I'm outside, if I move like one thing outside, there's so many worms underneath it. It's like the worms come to the top if I put one little thing on top of the soil. So what's up, the obsessive gardener? What's up, sifting some soil? How you doing? How you doing, ammo junkie? Tiffany Cherie says, hope they don't find a home in your guitar. I'll tell you right now, Tiffany, my love, not one worm has escaped the container here. So I'm being very cautious. And that's why I have the tarp down as well, so we don't get any of this stuff on our carpet either. So we're trying to be very cautious about everything we can here. The obsessive gardener says, checking out my methods. Hey, that's what it's all about. We all just watch each other garden and watch each other do our things and just take little pieces of what we do, and we all come from little pieces of other people. You know, we're all little segments of thought from other people over time. You know, we all just share thoughts and ideas, and then we all end up in the same place at some point. So I think it's really nice that we are able to share ideas on the internet like we do, you know. But yeah, so the purpose of me doing it like this, y'all, is because I'm not trying to harvest all these castings at one time. And I really want my worms to want to stick in the same container. And a really good way to do that is to I'm probably taking like, I'd say probably about 25% of the castings, maybe even like less than that. And then I'm going to put new material in there, and then they're going to eat that new material, and then they're going to make the current castings inside the container even more rich. So it's going to be like a stacking effect. And that's how I do my worm castings, and it works for me so well. I'm telling you, this is like, when I make teas with this stuff, it is like the most potent stuff ever. So I keep the worm bin inside of one of the bedrooms. It's just off to the side. The worms just stay in there and they chill. So that is a Les Paul, but I haven't had one worm escape the worm bin, and I don't have no kind of cage on it or nothing like that. They just stay inside naturally. Yeah, the worm. And you can ask Tiffany. Tiffany, she kind of pokes and jabs. That's my wife and everything. She pokes and jabs, but there's no worm escapes or anything like that. There's no worms crawling around the house or anything like that. So we're good to go. I just don't make it too flashy. I think the biggest thing about worm bins is you just do what you can handle, and you really have a lot of success with it. That's the biggest thing with worm bins. Yep. What's up, Jason Avers? And Jason Avers says having a light around a worm bin tends to make them stay put. So the place that I have them at is kind of dark, but Jason is right. So worms are, I think it's called like photosensitive or something like that, or not photosensitive, but photochromatic or something like that, or something, one of those other. But they're basically sensitive to light. So if light is around, they'll escape into the soil. Especially if the soil conditions are good, they'll escape into the soil naturally, and they'll just kind of dig and burrow down. And it's so cool to see when I put the worms back into the worm casting container, they just dive right back down because it's just a familiar environment and you can really tell. What's up, Simply Jan? It's good to see you. It's good to see you, fam. Sandy cheeks. Tiffany Cherie's talking about some SpongeBob right now. And Rusty like bars my door open to the room, so that's fine. We can have the door open as long as Tiffany's not. Oh, Tiffany's not here right now, but as long as we're not disturbing anybody. Sometimes I get pretty loud when I'm doing lives. We're all just having fun though. So okay. So we've gotten enough of the big worms out of here. We're going to go ahead and put all the castings into the bucket. I wish y'all could smell these worm castings. They smell so good. You see how it smells like rain in the woods after a light storm. And you can smell the dirt, and it just has that familiar smell to it. I love it. Exactly, Jason Avers. That's what I'm saying. They do the work for you, right? They do all the tilling for you too. They make all the air channels and all the water channels, and make that water be able to penetrate really deep. Look how healthy these worms are. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing to me?" Okay, so the Garden Zebra says, "Do you purchase special worms or can you use earthworms from the garden?" I bet you can use earthworms from the garden, because these worms that I'm using right now are African night crawlers, and as long as you provide the conditions for the worms from the garden that they would prefer, they'd stay there and they'd make castings for you. I mean, the different worms don't make like designer castings or anything. All the castings are created equal. It's all about the inputs that you give the worms. Like if you give the worms good quality food, you're gonna have good quality castings. That's just how it works out. Jason Neighbors, that's awesome. How long has your soil been in place, and how long have you had to work on it, Jason Neighbors? There's so many worms in here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got another batch in the dirt. No pun intended. Oh man, that is heavy. This is not even halfway full, and that is just really heavy. So what we can do is we'll take one more handful, like one more thing full right here of worm castings, and then we will start adding inputs back into the worm castings bin, and then we will call it quits for these worm castings over here. There's a few worms in here and everything, but that's fine. We're gonna put these in the garden. We're gonna top off plants with them and everything like that. I'm just trying to get enough to where I can put like half a handful on top of every plant, because I'm not trying to use it as like a nutrient fertilizer or nothing like that. I'm trying to use it as more of an inoculant base, because these worm castings are just so full of good microbes that I just want to take advantage of that. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab one more section of worm castings from a nice dense corner over here. There we go. Gosh, there's like pockets of eggshells in there. It's like the worms, it's like they left all the eggshells in place. Oh well, the eggshells just aren't breaking down as fast. That's what that is. That's fine. So we're gonna get a handful from over here then. Okay, here we go. Oh, had a little spill on the side, but that's what we got the tarp for. It's awesome. You know what? I think we'll stop with this right here. We'll use just this right here, and then we'll add some more inputs to the bin, because it's real low, and I think the castings that we're taking away from it is really going to do us really good benefit. So we're going to go ahead and pick through this right here, and then we will transplant some Vitex. Okay, so let's see here. Oh no, Canadian Proud. That's not. Oh, that stinks. Jason Neighbor says 1 year of deep mulch and letting the worms take care of business. The Rottweiler's now officially retired. No, not Rottweiler. Oh my gosh, Rottweiler. Rototiller. My eyes deceive me. Groma Hudson says I was about to say I made compost through the winter, and every time I plant something, I get a lot of worms. That's awesome. I'm wondering if that's why I see a lot of birds. Well, the birds do like the worms. Jace Neighbor says I bought worms from a worm farm and raised them for 1 year, distributed them out in the garden. Whenever I needed to divide the bin, that's all I took. Okay, so see you later, Simply Jan. Thank you for coming by. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming by and watching me mess around and harvest worms from the worm bin, and we'll harvest worm castings from the worm bin and everything that are going to go out in the garden. We're just sifting through some soil and getting the worms out so that we can get the castings out into the garden. But inevitably, we're going to end up with worms in the garden because we have cocoons in here. And we also have little worms that we're not going to be grabbing. So this is good for the garden. There's so many worms in here. Yeah, it's definitely it's funny to see the worm bin how it is now because there's a lot more worms on the top just kind of hanging out. They're when I say on the top, it's like they're in that shallow layer of soil. They're like, what's going on? But they're really not trying to escape either. They're just kind of hanging out. They're like, oh, I'm just going on a field trip. It's like they're fat too. You can tell that they're well fed. That's really good, considering that I'm harvesting castings right now too. Canadian Proud, it was hot out there today. So were y'all lacking heat? Are you finally getting some heat now? All right, we're going to go ahead and harvest these, and then we're going to go ahead and get the Vitex going. So whatever's in here is going to be part of the harvest. Okay. There's some worms in here still. There we go. Just grabbing that. And as you can see in the bucket here, we have a nice supply of worm castings. I don't know, you can kind of see the dimensions of the bucket. But we're going to take this and spread this in some of the plants in the garden and everything. But what I'm going to do with this right here is put this soil inside this worm bin. And then I'm going to also put some of these leaves in here. But I want to put the leaves here kind of more towards the bottom of the worm bin. I make it to where the worms can have like a safe haven to go to. And then they can kind of work their way up to any food that they want to eat. So what I'm going to do is I'll move this over so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to move this part right here over. Just like that. And I make like a nice kind of cavern in the worm bin and everything. And what I'm going to do, I have some green material here that I want to add to the worm bin. So I'm going to really just kind of make this space right here. I'm making a deep hole because this green material has been decomposing for a while too. And yeah, there's fresh castings down here and stuff, but I want this to be in contact with the green material. I want it to just go in there and just be in there real good. So we're going to just grab this. I'm going to grab the soil. And that stuff is nice and decomposed. So what I do is I put that in the spot that I put it in so that the worms can basically have a really good spot to just go to that stuff that I put into there at their own leisure, and they can really make their way over there as it decomposes. And there's a lot of soil mites and there's a lot of other decomposers inside there and everything, really just helping make sure that it gets broken down as well. So yeah, let me see here, Jason Neighbors. See you later, Growing with Hudson. Jason Neighbors says, once you get your garden colonized, keep the organic horizon stocked and you won't need any other fertilizer. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. So this soil right here is just so, like, I mean, it smells pretty good too. And it's like, it just has old plant roots in it and they're partially broken down and everything. It's really nice. It's actually really, really nice. So we're going to take this and you know what's funny? Y'all want to hear something fun? The worms are actually already going over to the stuff that I've put into the worm bin with no hesitation. And usually that doesn't happen for a minute. So we've added some of that stuff. I'm going to go to the other kind of quadrant over here and move this back. And then I'm going to add some leaves from the bag over here. And I'm just going to add that just like that. And I'm going to work it in to the side right here. Just like that. And move some more back. Work the leaves down a little bit more. Just like that. Boom. So now I'm going to just add some more soil to the top of it. And this soil has, and this white stuff in there is not perlite, it's actually pumice. So I'm really excited to get this worked in there because the worm castings that go into the next area, they get worked in, are going to be composed of pumice to a high regard. So what's up? What's up, seed addicts? How you doing? Jason Neighbor says 6 inches of wood chips turned into an inch of worm castings over 1 year. That is one of the best soil building systems that I can imagine. The wood chips are amazing, and usually people give them to you for free too. That's the craziest part about it. I'm like, dang, man, you're gonna give me this stuff for free? Like this bag of leaves I have right here, this is just like stock for worm feed and everything. This soil I have, I mean, it works great. Like this, this soil I have is not. I went off on a tangent, but these leaves I have is from a client that didn't want them. Like this soil I have right here is from a plant that was just done a long time ago, but I just let the soil sit until I needed it for something. The green material, same thing. Yeah, just reuse everything. all this material is just going to turn into the same thing anyway. It's just going to be soil in your garden. So I see no reason why you shouldn't just reuse everything. Well, I'm glad you're here, seed addicts. If you can just kind of pick it up, I'm putting it down. So this pot of soil right here, what's left in it, I'm going to put it back outside because that's where it came from. So, and I sifted real close. All I could find inside here was worm cocoons and soil mites. I'm really happy with the material that I got. I kept it covered and protected though, so I got, oh man, I got some cool stuff to show y'all. On I took a video of the nutrients that I made, and it's just like it went to another evolution or something like that. So I'm excited about that. All right, so now that we've gotten the worm farm replenished after we've taken the castings from it, we're going to go ahead and put this back in the room, and then we're going to actually transplant some of the Vitex that we have rooted inside of the soil we have over here. But we're going to put it inside this pot right here, and that's going to be it for tonight. So I'm going to move this stuff out of the way, clear the area a little bit, and then we're going to get ready for that transplant. So let's get to that. This is going to be really heavy now. It's okay. I did not mean to kick the mic or move the camera, but that's okay. I'll be right back. All right. Move this to the side. And now we set up the next station. So this stuff right here is way too rich for my blood. I got some anyway, because I really wanted to make sure that the Vitex that was going on our property in the future would really have the best chance at survival and thriving. So what we have here is some tree and shrub mix. I'll see you later. Well, actually, are you leaving? I don't know. I'm just trying to multitask and stuff here. But now we're about to get some Vitex cuttings out of the grow chamber. And we're going to pot them up. So we have these Vitex here. And we also have some 1 gallon pots. So what I'm going to do, let me see. Can y'all see me? I'll make sure that y'all can see me, but let me see. This is really awkward, but we're getting it done. Oh, okay. You were saying you have to drive out to the municipal place to get your wood chips. Okay. All right. So here's the Vitex cuttings. We're going to transplant some, if not all of them, to pots. But what we're going to do is fill this bad boy up right here with this premium, quote unquote, premium garden soil. Let's see what it looks like. This premium garden soil. It just looks like decomposed mulch. I'll give you all a close up. So this is what we're looking at. if you can actually see it in the bag here. I don't know if you can because of the light, but I'll show you better inside the pot when I pour it. It smells really good. Okay, so this stuff is basically like super decomposed mulch, but I mean, it's good stuff. It smells great. It looks good, but it's like you can tell that it's. Oh, look, there's a little worm here. Let's get this guy. Put it in here with the tree. But there you go. Go ahead and fill the pot up. There we go. Let's see about this chat. Jason Avers says, I grow worms in the tote that Farmer Q is sitting on. Okay. So we're just getting this set up to where we can put some of these cuttings right here, not into this one pot, but one of these cuttings right here is going to go into this big pot, because one of these cuttings right here is going to be the tree that we put at the first tree that we put at the property. So this Vitex is my favorite tree. It's called a chast tree or a Vitex tree, and it is one of the most beautiful trees ever. I love it. It attracts pollinators. And I just love how it looks. So what I would like to do is just basically plant one of the trees right here in this pot. So it's not nothing complicated, of course. But I got a few other pots here that I'm going to put some of the other trees in. And then I'm going to keep some of the other trees moist and maybe ship them off to some people. So we'll see. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this one right here. So as y'all can see, they have roots and they're ready to go. So we're gonna put this one right here, just like this. Nothing fancy, but now we have a Vitex tree. So what we're gonna do is let this tree sit in here for like a good year, year and a half, something like that. 2 years even, but we'll let it sit in here as long as we need to, because we'll have it in until we get to the property and everything. But this is like, I guess this is like an iconic moment. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but I'll be able to look back on this moment and be like, hey, I wasn't alive and we planted this tree together, and this signified the future, you know? So get a little sappy there for a second. Okay, so no pun intended. Oh, look how light it is. It's so cool. You can tell it's a good tree mix. Now now what we're going to do is take some of these other pots here and do the same. We're going to just pot these up in some 1 gallons. And we'll keep the rest to the side. Like I said, thanks, Jason Neighbors. But like I said, I'd like to ship some of these to people, but I got 2 whole Vitex outside. I can always take more cuttings. So if anybody ever wants some of these Vitex cuttings, they're a beautiful tree. I like to give some away to people for the cost of shipping. So just let me know and we can get that done. Let's make a mess. Or I don't know, we might not. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. You know what? We'll add some more to them. All right, so let's get these 4 potted up and we'll close it on out because we got other stuff to do on a Saturday night. Hey, but thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. I really been kind of dragging on getting this done, and I was like, what better way to do this than to share with family? So, perfect. There we go. There's 1. There's oh no, look, all the roots fell off of it, or all, not the roots, but the soil ball fell off of it, and you can see the exact root ball. It doesn't take much, y'all. See, as y'all can see, it doesn't take much to actually root a tree. This is a tree's root ball right here. Of course, there's going to be roots that grow from the bottom of the stem as it stands right now. Oh, see that it says, you said screenshot the comment so we can be nostalgic with you. Well, I haven't got the land yet, Canadian Proud, but I appreciate the congrats in advance. Yeah, y'all are the day ones. See that? It's y'all the day ones. But yeah, we're just getting this tree planted. These trees planted rather. And I want to make sure that this is nice and sturdy. Let me see. So these other trees are all rooted. Anybody who might want them, just let me know. We can get it set up. I'll ship them. All of them have had roots. Every single one of them has had roots. There we go. We got one more because I'm only doing 5 tonight. Oh. They smell so good. They smell so good. I love the smell of Vitex trees. So we have a few cuts left, but we'll just basically keep these moist. We'll keep these in the dome area to where they can establish some more roots and everything like that. But let's go ahead and get up here to the computer so we can close this out the right way before we clean up some. All right. Let's see here. Now that we have gotten all that done, Vitex is late. It's late. It's late. So that's probably why there's no mods and everything here. But it's just, yeah. This says Sleepy Lizard Avocado Farm. What's up, Ed's Crazy Homestead? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. So this is a channel on YouTube, Sleepy Lizard Avocado Farm. It's awesome. They have an awesome channel. I actually did a video about them a while back. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I was doing tonight. I was just trying to harvest some worm castings, trying to pot up the Vitex trees and everything like that, and just kind of chill with some fam and see who is on here. And it's been an hour. I actually didn't go too far over time and everything like that. So shoot. But yeah. One second. Ammo Junkie, why are you talking about stuff like that on YouTube lives? Let me see. But yeah, it's spelled Vitex and it's also spelled Chast. So let me see. I'm gonna link it real quick. Chast. I'm gonna actually send y'all a link real quick. me see. So this is a Vitex tree in its fully established form. Ammo Junkie, we all got skills. We all got to pay the bills. So that's what that is. But yeah, make sure y'all leave a like, and if y'all haven't subbed yet, oh, you got your seeds? You got your seeds, Mona Noel? Awesome. If y'all grow them, let me know. Let me know if y'all grow them, and let me know how y'all like them. Hey, Miss Pinky, how you doing? I'm glad you could stop by. Yeah, I'm finishing out now. I'm just closing on out. Let me see. Canadian. Oh, y'all want to see me do my closeout as always. As always. Okay. Okay. I see how it is. But yeah, I want to show y'all these real quick. This is the next thing that I'll be actually trying to grow here indoors. They're called bird peppers or chili pekin peppers. And I'm really excited about them. Really got me all excited. So that fabric pot that the worm bin was it was like a 15-gallon pot. I think it was a 15-gallon pot. So let me see. I'm thinking it's a little late. It's a little late. You can sow seeds now, though, Mona Noel. You can sow them right now. I get to that right now. If you can kind of do that now, and you'd have you some peppers on that plant by fall. And you'd be able to harvest some peppers by fall, especially with the blended mulata, because that's a fast finisher. And it produces a whole lot. It produces a whole lot. But Carolina roots, I think that's like a 15 or a 20-gallon fabric pot. And that's another thing, too. You want to have as big of a container as you can for the fabric pot for the worm farm. I've seen people even do like 50-gallon containers for the worm farms and everything like that. And they've had a lot of success with it. So, man, it's epic. Had to use my trademark word, epic. But yeah, thank y'all for 600 subscribers, by the way. I noticed I hit 600 subscribers today. So I'm super excited about that, and I appreciate that, y'all. But I guess that it's time for my closeout, because I'm about to get out of here and get me something to eat and get some more stuff done before I call it quits for the night. But I want to play me some video games too, y'all. That's what that is. But oh man, Ammo Junkie. You're right. You're right. They do grow some monsters. I appreciate that, Carolina Roots. I appreciate that. But y'all know what that means. That's Farmer Q out. Y'all have a good night. It's been awesome hanging out with y'all tonight, fam. I've had a long day. I've gotten a lot done, but it's always good to have some fun with fam. So I just play League of Legends right now. That's all I play right now, because I'm not trying to play too many games. I just have to keep it. If I play a game, I only play one at a time, because it can really take up a lot of time. So good night, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming to hang out, and much love, fam. That's Farmer Q out.